Good evening, everybody. This is Spencer Keck coming at you live from Tunnel Hills here in Tunnel Hills, Kentucky, where life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is what makes life worth living. Y'all, it is an amazing day today when I drove home from work, came through Radcliffe, and I looked over. There was a gas station where the gas was $2.66 per gallon. Mind you, only a couple weeks ago it was 2.30 something. An hour and a half later, I drove back by there, and it had already gone up to 2.89. Other gas stations around 2.99. Yeah, tell me this is what you voted for. This is amazing. This never an endless war again president taking us to this. Well, y'all, Captain Whiskey Pete Keg's Breath says this is not a war. So what is it then? We heard that when my dad was sent off to Vietnam. This is not a war, just a police action, right? Heard growing up, we never declared war in Vietnam, yet we were there how long? So what is it then? What are we doing? What games are we playing? What do you guys think? Is this a war or is this just a police action? They say it's not a regime change, and yet the regime changed and they had no plan for how to fill the void. I saw this in Afghanistan, in Iraq, especially in Iraq. We had no plan for who was going to replace the horrible dictator there once we toppled him. And what did we do? We fumbled it, we bumbled it, and we effed that place up. So it's just a hotbed of mess, and future folks waiting to do the same thing that they've been doing for years, but we get more reason now. So that's what I want to know. All right, who we got on tonight? Copycats 8647. Think if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it isn't a turkey. And that's for sure. So we are at war. Absolutely at war. How many wars has this president started? The I'll never start a war president. Only Obama will start wars. Yeah, which Obama didn't do. We were already in a war when he became president. Hey there, Jonathan. Good to see you. So, y'all, yeah, we're at war. Our kids are at war. I had a former student, high school student, now graduated, looked me up yesterday here in Hardin County, saying that I asked him, "Hey, are you off in college?" He's one of my smartest students. And he said, "No, he tried to join the Army. That didn't work out. He's trying to get into the Air Force." Man, any other time they knew how proud I am of my service, how proud I am still of my service, and how that changed my life. I just hope he can survive it because I really, really know he's a good kid, good brain, and can go far. I hope this isn't another endless war where I start seeing kids that I taught come home with flags draped over their coffins. That's not something I want to see. I want anytime we send more folks overseas, like my brothers and I, my little brothers and I, because I'm the oldest, when we went off in uniform and fought overseas, I want to know that it's not for nothing. My dad went off to Vietnam, wanted to do everything he could, extended his tour by 6 months, turned his 12-month tour into an 18-month tour. Came back, made him a Green Beret. He got out as soon as his hitch was up. Always wondered, hey, did he do enough? And then he wished that he had done. He said he wished he had gone to D.C. to protest when other veterans did so back then, even though he had willingly extended his tour another 6 months while he was in Vietnam. Came back, he wished he had protested. Tom, good to see you, Tom. So it took me a minute to find the link, but here I am. Great to see you, Tom. So we're asking, right, if we all noticed how great our gas prices are now. You know, we know that they, not us, but they voted for this. So gas prices skyrocketing. The Strait of Hormuz there in the Middle East, where 20% of the world's petroleum has to travel through to get out to the rest of us. Yeah, that's blocked off now. So when you got 20% of the world's petroleum being blocked off from being shipped, yep, that's going to affect your prices. Who's it good for? Not you and me, but I'm sure there are some oil billionaires that are going to make a killing now. So, but the biggest question is, what is it going to do to get folks to realize this is all about Epstein files? This is the Epstein conflict. This is getting us distracted from what's really going on, which is we need to put these Epstein class pedos on trial now. We needed to do it a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We didn't. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't. Dom says, gas prices near me are often from 10 to 20 cents per gallon lower than other parts of town. Prices were in the $2.70 gallon range for a while, but they have gone up to just under 3 gallons today. So like I was saying, drove home, it was $2.66 in Radcliffe. Drove back by later, same gas station, $2.89. Everyone else around, $2.99. Radcliffe always runs under Louisville's prices. So yeah, we're in it now for the long haul. So all that oil coming from Venezuela, supposedly, and I don't see it coming out of there. Haven't seen it help our prices. Yeah, is it was this designed to sell that at a higher price? That's my question. Is anyone saying anything about the fact that the Venezuela oil, the money from the sale of that was put by the administration, one person in the administration, into a private account in Qatar? That's outrageous, but it seems like there's no grift that bothers people enough to make it stop. No grift large enough to make this stop. Gifts of a luxury airliner from Qatar. That's not enough. Having now a Qatari Air Force base in our nation. That's not enough. So, all right, Tom says Venezuelan oil requires some work involving chemicals from Iran to be useful, or so I have read recently. This could be part of the reason they aren't telling us more. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, long and short of it is, I do not want to see the kids that I'm teaching in school now going off to an endless war, like the war that took my brother's limbs and then later took his life when he was back home for less than 5 years. Just like the war that took my dad's life after he found my brother dead. Then the next year, we buried my dad from cancer caused by Agent Orange. I don't need to see any of this and hear any president tell me glibly that, oh, heroes will die. That means far more to me that heroes do die. And Bonespurs himself, we know he will never go to war. He avoided the same one that killed my dad. I haven't seen any of his sons on the battlefield with me in Afghanistan or any other place in the Middle East or Africa or all the other places that I was deployed. I don't see Baron Trump putting on a uniform, raising his right hand, and swearing an oath to the Constitution. He's old enough, should be fit enough, unless he got daddy's bone spurs problem. Sure, it must be a congenital thing. Conveniently disappears after the age that you can enlist in the military. So, until we see the Trump boys in uniform, we shouldn't be engaging in any more fights. And when I say in uniform, I mean fatigues, desert pattern, in the sand, in the infantry, shooting a rifle and having a bullet shot at them. Then we can say, okay, this must be a real war. This must be something important. Copycat says Barron should be there, but we all know he won't. Absolutely not. Trying to say something about because he's 6'9", he's too tall. Sorry about that. I've seen a basketball player that was 7 foot tall get a waiver for being in the military. I know plenty of tall people. Heck, I'm almost 6'5". I was there. Dom says, in 2008, I was talking with a coworker whose husband had been deployed. The deployment led to their divorce. Part of the cost that the global or the GWB ignored, George Walker Bush, when he decided to wage a selective war on terror. Barron should be wearing a uniform sponsored by Target. Absolutely. And yeah, horse shit. He's not too tall to join. Plenty of tall folks serve right alongside me, and I'm tall too. And I did a whole career. Heck, I got a waiver for flat feet. So there's no reason for him not to be there. Proudly wearing the uniform, proudly giving himself the opportunity to be one of the heroes that his dad glibly talks about dying. If that's okay with you, that your cult leader glibly talks about my brothers and my dad dying, because that happens in war, heroes die, when he would never allow himself to be sent to Vietnam, then there's something wrong with your cult. I don't know what it would take to recognize it's a cult. Once again, as I said, here in Hardin County, plenty of us has put on the uniform. And if you wore the uniform in combat and you think this is great, you've got a right to it. But I know plenty of us who went there, deployed many times in our career, and we're now a bit jaded. And we actually think more than twice when it comes to what politicians tell us is a reason to go watch our brothers in arms and our sisters in arms have their heads blown off. So he glibly thinks that the 6 now, we're up to 6 dead, that's A-okay without congressional approval, without building the support of the free world, then, yep, we've got another thing coming. Even George Walker Bush got the basically the permission of the world when he went and did what he did. Now, most of the world, most all of the free world agreed with us going into Afghanistan after we were so heinously attacked. There were many that pushed back on Iraq because who we know now, was the whole thing about the yellow cake uranium was a lie. And the weapons of mass destruction, that was a lie to get us into Iraq where we had no business being. We were told back months ago when we bombed the ever living shit out of Iran that, hey, we destroyed their nuclear capabilities. We are done, finished, won't have to do it again. And yet, here we are, causing massive attacks all over the Middle East, losing our own service members in some of those attacks, and we're all supposed to cheer it on. Well, Congress better do their job. That's what the Constitution told them to do. Are we just going to have a complete abrogation of the U.S. Constitution? That's what I want to know. Are we done? Are we not a constitutional democracy anymore? Are we not a democracy and a republic anymore? The writing's becoming clear on the wall. All right, y'all. Hopefully, everyone, like Tom said last night, is calling their senators and their representatives daily and pushing back on this. We don't need to see any more sons mourning the loss of their father, daughters mourning the loss of a dad, wives mourning the loss of a husband, mothers and fathers burying their children before the parent dies. I know from watching my parents bury my brother, nothing much tougher than burying your own child, regardless of how heroic they are. And my brother was a hero. My dad was a hero. But my brother died only a couple weeks before he would have been 40. Bet you the guys that died recently didn't even reach that ripe old age. We'll know soon. Tom says, don't even get me started about U.S. officers telling the sergeants that this is a holy war. Well, I haven't heard that one yet from any officers, but now that I know they're weeding out anyone from the officers corps that is not a sycophant and a bootlicker, I wouldn't be surprised. I was actually told that when I was expressing my displeasure with the impending invasion of Iraq back in the early 2000s, after I had returned from Afghanistan, knowing we didn't come near to finishing what we're supposed to in Afghanistan. We took our eye off the ball, let the perpetrator of the attacks in New York and DC go untouched while we went to chase down an imaginary weapons of mass destruction cache in Iraq. And that same excursion into Iraq, all it did was make Dick Cheney and Halliburton, the company that he owned, and its subsidiary, Kellogg Brown and Root, billions upon billions of dollars. There wasn't a single base that you could go to that where the chow hall wasn't run by Kellogg Brown and Root, the contracting for our shower services, any contracting on any of our bases was Halliburton, Kellogg Brown and Root. So talk about grifting. Dick Cheney was the biggest grifter of them all. And now we've elected one as president. Prove me wrong. All right, y'all. Again, it's down to how are we going to help our neighbors? How are we going to demonstrate to our neighbors that we love them just as much as we love ourselves? Well, to do it, we've got to lift up our community. And the only way we can do that is by buying local, keeping our money local, keeping our tax base local, and making sure that we're not doing anything to help these companies like Kellogg, Brown and Root, and Halliburton that made a crap load of money off the last 20-year war. There's going to be plenty more contractors now making lots of money. Matter of fact, hey, if you want to go make a killing, go invest in Raytheon, Boeing, and all the other companies that are making these munitions. We're already spending billions on this, and yet there's not enough money to pay my fellow teachers where I teach. Our school system is behind school systems in other developed nations because we don't place a value on the education of our citizens, not public education. Other countries do. Other countries surpass us in the education of their citizenry. And yet we would rather spend our billions and trillions on munitions. And if you've got them, you're eventually going to want to use them. And here we go. Well, at the same time, we know this is all a distraction from the files. So, yeah. No, Tom, it's not a holy war. I was told that by some dearly beloved folks that the incursion in Iraq back in the day when I was not for it, even though I was on active duty, I was told, oh, how can you not be for it? This is a war to protect the Christians in the Middle East, in Iraq. Biggest bunch of hooey ever. So, yep. I know there's a petition out there right now to get Barron Trump in uniform. I say we all go sign it, in addition to calling our senators and our congressmen every single day. And again, let's keep our county strong and our state strong. Buy local. Go find the local farmer to buy his animal on the hoof. Have it slaughtered and dressed. Split the cost of it among your friends, family. Have good quality meat that you can go see how it was grown, how it was raised, how the animal was treated, and know that you're helping out a part of our country, family farmers that need help more now than ever. And we know that this administration is not doing anything for family farmers. All right, y'all. So here in Kentucky, we know united we stand, divided we fall. And if we love our neighbors truly as much as we love ourselves, we're not going to be divided. And we're not going to fall because we are our brothers' keepers and our sisters' keepers. Bless our corazón, our heart, and remember everyone deployed.
We all know Iran has been 2 weeks away from developing a nuclear weapon for like the last 15 years or something. So we had to act now, and we're doing war. War! What is it good for? Distracting from the Epstein files. Go on the campaign trail, I promise.